Alright, today for this little portion I'm going to talk about hand position. The position of your hand on the grip combined with trigger pull is where you get most of your accuracy. And I've got my Glock here on my side that's unloaded, and I'm going to have Brianna zoom in on my hand so you can see what I'm talking about. We're going to do it dry first with no ammunition in it, and then I'll throw some rounds down range. So can I have you come over here for a second? Okay, so I'm going to have you zoom on my hand. So the gun here is unloaded, and for a good grip position on a Glock, and every gun is different, but most guns are very similar. The best thing to do, the gun's unloaded, it's clear. The best thing to do is actually, in my opinion on a Glock, is to choke up as high as you can on the weapon. And what that does is that barely makes the slide clear your hand. The higher you have control in the back of the weapon, the more accurate you're going to be. And the principle behind this is, if you trap all four corners of the gun, you get much more accuracy. So not only am I trapping the lower back, I'm trapping the upper and lower back. I'm trapping the right hand side with my hand here. With my left hand side, I'm trapping the left hand side of the weapon. And with my fingers, whether you wrap right here or whether you wrap the trigger guard, you're trying to envelop the whole pistol grip. The more you envelop this pistol grip, the more you have a really good tight locking pattern around your weapon, the more accurate you'll be. So choke up high, lock the weapon real nice, not super tight, but the more hand you can get on that gun, the better. And if you have very tiny hands, the higher you choke up, the more accurate it'll be, because it'll be in line with the rounds that are being fired and the weapon cycling. So right now my gun's unloaded. We're going to go over trigger pull. I'm going to have Brianna come to the opposite side. And then from this side we're going to work on trigger pull. Trigger pull pretty much is when you have a round in the chamber and you're about to fire. I'm going to move my hand just for demonstration purposes here. The travel of your trigger from beginning to end, it goes all the way back and then it picks up slack. From the slack position, when you start to squeeze the trigger, that's when you actually hear the trigger go off. So from here, a great practicing tool, you have to make sure you have no weapons, any ammunition anywhere close. A great practicing tool is to keep the trigger depressed, cock the gun, make sure it's uncocked of course, release the trigger just enough that the trigger resets. From there, you squeeze very slowly and very smoothly until the trigger goes off and you'll hear the click. From there, do the same thing over and over. And that gives you what's called a muscle memory. This works extremely well for Glock shooters. And it works pretty well for just about any other type of pistol. But it's just getting to know when your trigger loses the slack and when your trigger is going to fire and reset. And it's called a trigger reset drill. It's very important for shooters who really want to be accurate and do a lot of shooting but don't know really how to become a better shot. So I'm going to put my eyes and ears on right now, and I'm going to fire a couple shots at this target here. Let's say this little circle here, and I'm only going to be back at the 5 or 7 yard line. Go ahead, Bran. And of course, I'm keeping my gun in a safe direction and having her walk in front of me. And she's already got ears and eyes on. And so from here, grab a magazine. Make sure it's seated. I got one chambered. I'm going to holster it here just for a second until I can. Just putting it someplace safe until I can get my eyes and my ears on. I already got my eyes, my ears. Now I'm going to fire whatever's left in the gun. I think there's 5 rounds in it right now that I'm going to fire at that little target with a controlled trigger pull, slowly, and trying to be accurate as I can. All right,
Nice
gun's
shooting.
empty. Let's go ahead and take a look at the shots. So,
Wow.
that's all 5 in the same hole. And I'm not trying to brag. All it has to do with, the only thing it has to do with is trigger control and the position of your hands on the pistol. So if you've got to a certain point where you're getting really good at shooting and you just can't pass that hump, try the trigger reset drills and try to choke up on your pistol and capture every corner of that pistol. If you can do that, practice over and over and over dry firing that weapon and getting a feel for your trigger, and you'll make really accurate shots. Let me show you one more thing before that camera shuts off. I want to show you here. The gun is empty, and if you zoom in on this sight, this is my Glock, and this is the Glock with the busted sight. You guys see that? How crooked that sight is? Let me back up because it's probably going to be blurry. So, even though the sight is completely broken off and will completely come off, the gun still fires excellently. And of course this needs to be replaced because it's not very good to have a crummy sight on there like that. I'm just letting you show you that it's not only the gun that is the whole package, it's how much practice you put into that weapon and how much confidence you have with that weapon. Even though some of my tools are broken, and I've already showed you videos of my broken tools, practice makes perfect. Being safe is the only way to come out on a firing range, and just keep practicing. Just a couple of those little tiny drills and you'll be a lot better. That's it.